Hi, this is Phil with KLANG. Today we're going to set up a complete KLANG show ready for soundcheck from scratch. We need KLANG app running on a Mac, PC, iOS or Android device. Any KLANG processor like Conductor, Fabrik, 4, DMI or, as in today's example, a KLANG Vokal. An input source, which could be a mixing board, stage box or multitracks running on a computer. Finally, an output device, KLANG controller, KLANG Quelle, wireless transmitters or available outputs in your mixing board. Let's take a look at the stage plot for today's 8-piece band. Drums, percussion, bass, guitar, keys and 3 vocals. The input list shows the individual stage inputs as well as some extras, like a submix, effect returns and talkbacks. Before we begin, we need to take care of the physical connections. Our computer or tablet plugs into the control port. The input source needs to be connected to our KLANG processor's I/O of choice. In today's example, there would be MADI coming from a mixing board. But there are many alternatives, depending on application and choice of KLANG hardware. A KLANG controller, for example, could be connected directly to the front network port of KLANG Vokal. Let's open KLANG app. A long press on config will let us choose the user mode. Since we need access to all settings, we choose admin mode. The device list in the Connect tab lets us choose our processor, KLANG Vokal. For a clean start, we navigate to the Preset tab and load a default or default off template. Today, we choose default off, which has all channels deactivated and assigned to group 1. At this point, we can type in a name for our KLANG show and save it. This will store it to the internal memory of our KLANG processor. Next up, the audio patch. Since we are using MADI, we want to make sure to set the clock source to MADI. A successful sync will be shown in green. Now we can route the MADI inputs into the processing by holding the Alt key and clicking the cross point between From MADI and To 3D IEM. The output patch works in the same way, from 3D IEM to MADI. This can also be double patched to Dante or any other available format. Now that the signal flow is taken care of, we select one mix to begin with the channel layout. This will be the basis for all other mixes at a later stage. We select the Channels tab, which shows us all available channels as well as the groups. We have decided to use 8 groups today, plus 1 extra spare group. These can be added or removed by clicking on the plus or minus button in the last group. A click on any group will show us the group details. Here we can select an icon, a name, and a color. The previous and next buttons will allow us to jump between groups. Alternatively, we can use the shortcuts Command and arrow keys on Mac or Control and arrow keys on Windows. We continue assigning icons, names, and colors to all of our up to 16 groups. Predefined quick labels are a great way to speed up this process. Smart labels will even remember the last 4 names you typed in manually for each icon. In case we don't find a matching quick label, we can click on the group name and type in a label. With that done, we can take care of setting up our input channels in a very similar process. Our input list will be handy as a reference. A click on the first channel brings us to the channel details. We can define instruments with icons and set a color, group assignment, manual naming, 4 predefined quick labels per instrument, self-learning smart labels, a stereo link, and the brand new quick positions. Red positions place the signal into the main focus area, ensuring auditive priority independent from channel volume. Yellow placement is just outside of the main focus area, for important signals with a second-tier priority. Blue is used for signals we want to enjoy, but which are not critical to our performance. And purple are generic positions without specific priority. We begin with the kick in on channel 1, which of course gets a kick drum icon, a quick label, and a quick position. We repeat this for channel 2, which is the kick out mic. The same keyboard shortcuts as in the group details also work here. No need to burn unnecessary mouse mileage. Snare top is the next channel. Rinse and repeat. Snare bottom, hi-hat, first tom, and second tom. The overheads are a stereo input, so we should set a stereo link, which also gives us stereo quick positions. The same is true for the percussion channel. We want to label the backing vocals with their actual names, but these are not included in the quick labels. We can type any name by either clicking on a label or by using another handy shortcut to activate text entry, spacebar. Our channels are labeled and have been equipped with icons and quick positions. Now it's a great time to sort them into our groups, either by dragging and dropping or by using the Assign to Group function in the channel details. We start with the first channel and keep assigning all drums to the first group. Using the keyboard shortcut for next channel makes this super quick. Bass goes to the bass group, keys to the keys group, guitars to the guitar group, and both backing vocals to their very own group. Lead vocals into the lead vocal group. And of course, we don't have to keep the channel order in the same way. We can rearrange into groups as we see fit. We're not using the full 64 channels of Klang Vokal in our example. That's why we dump all unused channels into our spare group. In case we decide on using more channels at a later point, we can always activate and assign spare channels to any of our active groups. This looks pretty tidy already, and we are ready to activate the groups and included channels. You might have noticed that we didn't set colors for the individual channels yet. That's okay though, because we can simply assign a group color to all members with one tap. It's a common practice to move all faders up to, let's say, minus 15 dB, so the musicians immediately hear everything when soundcheck starts. Instead of moving one fader after another, we can also use the plus button above the master fader to achieve this. Mix 1 is now at a fantastic starting point. And of course, we want to make sure to copy the settings we did to all other mixes. There are several options. We can copy one mix and only paste these settings to one specific other mix. We can clone one mix to all other mixes, including levels, positions, mutes, and solos. In case we want to exclude certain parameters, we can use the Recall Save options in the Presets tab. Clone Meta will only use icons, colors, names, and stereo links, but not group assignments, channel order, or the actual mix parameters. In our case, we want to bring all mixes to an identical starting point, so we use Clone to all mixes, without any recall saves. The next step would be to customize the mixes for our musicians. First, we name the mixes by navigating to Config and the Connect tab. Here, we can enter the username for the drums, the bass, percussion, keys, guitar, backing vocalist Nat, backing vocalist Lou, and the lead vocals. Adding matching icons is not necessary, but it's a nice touch for a proper overview. The quick positions we chose earlier are mainly in the yellow and blue section. It makes sense, though, to place the own instrument for each artist into the focus area, using the red quick positions. We start with the drummer's mix and place all drum signals into the frontal red area. This will make sure to give the drummer a natural perspective, as well as the possibility to focus the mix on the drums, without having to use extreme volumes. Next up would be percussion, following the same principle. Same for the keys, the guitars, both backing vocals, and for the lead vocalist. Our starting point is now tailored to each musician, and given a proper gain structure, this will already focus the mix on their own instrument without having to adjust levels just yet. Don't forget to save your progress. The Preset tab will allow us to either save under a new name or conveniently update the current Klang show. The Transfer button will also save a copy on your computer or tablet, as well as to a connected USB stick, as a backup or for easy file transfer to a different unit. In case we want to give some control to our artists, the best choice would be, of course, Klang Controller. Alternatively, tablets can be handed out for a wireless control. We can limit access to certain functions through 4 different user modes by pressing and holding Config. Admin is the Access All Areas pass. Show lets us control all mixes, but locks us out of system settings. Musician mode keeps the tablet in one mix and only allows adjustment of level and positioning. Personal mode is very similar to musician mode, but additionally lets musicians color, reorder, and rename channels for their mix and eyes only. Also, local shows can be stored and recalled locally on the tablet. Each local show can contain several snapshots for different levels, positions, mutes, and solos between sets. They only affect the selected mix and are completely independent from global snapshots. User snapshots can be navigated and recalled from the Presets tab or with the quick controls below Stage and Fader View. Not all of the steps mentioned in this video will be necessary every time. For example, if you're using the Digico desk integration, channel and usernames will be set automatically. In case you have to be quick, you can also skip some of the steps, which make the setup nice to look at, and come back to that later. If there should be any questions, please get in touch with us. We're always happy to hear from you. Until then, see you next time.